Good afternoon. Today we're going to be discussing the week one presentation, which is to review and evaluate the media coverage of a current or recent news event. Today's story, we're going to be talking about the allegations that were um, um, done about Brett Favre back in 2010. The Brett Favre scandal. Um, Brett Favre, one of the NFL's most popular, well-known, and one of the league's best quarterbacks ever to play, was accused of sexting and displaying inappropriate behavior towards female employees. This situation was investigated by Commissioner Roger Goodell with possible fine and suspensions due to league's policies, which allows for punishments even if no laws were broken. These allegations were that Favre or someone pretending to be Favre sent inappropriate photos and messages to um, a couple of different female employees. How the story broke or how it evolved. These allegations were first made uh, by Deadspin.com. These images and messages were towards two different women um, that we know of, or allegedly um, within the now which includes the now television personality Jen Sturger, who the photos and inappropriate messages were mainly sent to. These allegations were then reported to the Associated Press. These accusers reported that Favre or someone pretending to be Favre reached out to her through MySpace, text, and through voicemail as well. And this is how the story initially broke and how it began to evolve in this particular order. How the scandal was covered by social media, different ways it was covered through social media. It began, as we said, with Deadspin.com and them having um, information that this um, inappropriate behavior was taking place. From there, various journalists and followers of Twitter's picked up on the story. Of course, it spread worldwide by the use of this social media that's called Twitter. And on Facebook, we have several memes and reports were done on Facebook, and this added fuel to the fire, and it again began to pick up steam by its millions of users through the Facebook um, social media website. Now, how social media influenced coverage of the story in the mainstream media. Um, the story began picking up steam when it was learned that Roger Goodell was investigating this report, and by and with the news that the story was being investigated, ESPN picked up on the story, and it was reported by Chris Mortensen about these allegations that were directed towards Favre. Um, in an article written by John Kerr, he states in his article that many were curious and they began looking these allegations up on the World Wide Web. Deadspin, which is known to not be a so reliable source, um, of course, like we said initially, picked up on this this information and reported it. Um, Other quotations from Mr. Kerr, he said that by ESPN reporting on this story, it legitimized the story. He states that it became nutritional breakfast food, and soon more legacy media outlets ran the story. And once ESPN reported on the story, um, then other outlets began picking up on the story, especially when the story was reported through ESPN after um, the allegations were said to be investigated by Mr. Goodell. Now, the significance of the coverage in social and traditional media. Um, this story displays how rapidly news and information can be spread uh, by the use of social media. It also displays how alleged information can be uh, misinterpreted as fact as journalists and reporters re-report information from various other sources. Social media can, from a single source, whether reputable or not, influence society in a positive or negative way. Um, Through the coverage of this story, it was an article that was found um, on on imediaethics.org, to where Stephen Ward, a journalism ethics professor, director of the Center for Journalism Ethics and assistant editor of Journal of Mass Media Ethics, states that one can use such sites as Deadspin as a tip service to check out information yourself. Kind of, I guess, kind of like sort of like Wikipedia, where you can use it as a guide, but not really um, take information from um, a wiki site and use it as a reliable resource. Deadspin could be used the same. He he also expressed that this type of journalism through Deadspin was sleazy journalism, and he also goes on to state that journalists should independently verify claims before reporting, and that this was simply feeding off a badly sourced Deadspin story is unethical and not justified. So, through the eyes of Mr. Ward, he seems to think that the information that was gathered through Deadspin was ineffective and basically unreliable, because these were just that, allegations, and they weren't actual facts, or no investigation was announced before reporting this information, such as what ESPN did, but Deadspin did not do. They just went along with it, and these bullet points here can can point to the significance of the coverage in social and traditional media. Social media, you kind of have that leeway to kind of just put information out there without actually referencing or checking up the information. In traditional media, of course, they have to verify the information or wait before an actual um, event, detailed event happens before it is reported on. Here we have references for the slides and for the presentation. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you for listening and paying attention, and have a good day.